Welcome back to the Charismatic Voice. I've read in the comments how many of you reference Motorhead as being one of the leaders of heavy metal. And many of you talk about Lemmy as if he were like a pal or a friend. I think it's amazing how lead singers can just reach into our souls and make us feel understood. So I want to know what it is about Lemmy and Motorhead that has touched so many of you. Let's get to it. Whoa.
If you like to gamble, I tell you I'm your man. You win some, lose some, it's all the same to me. The pleasure is to play, ain't no difference what you say. I don't say greed, the only card I need is the ace of spades. The ace of spades.
Whoa. He almost has like a sloppy, aggressive style of singing. This is not what I was expecting. This is something I love about all of you too. Your comments and your suggestions often just surprise me. I'm going to go back to the beginning. The riff is so cool. It's a descending chromatic, lots of tension, but it's like the tension is de-escalating, but at the same time you have this driving force in the rhythm that makes it feel like it's escalating. So, so much information.
If you like to gamble, I tell you I'm your man. You win some, lose some, it's all the same to me. The pleasure is to play, ain't no difference what you say. I don't say greed, the only card I need is the ace of spades. The ace of spades.
This is so interesting. So this sound for me, I immediately hear it and I go, you could do this and this and this to quote improve it. But then I have to take a step back and say, that's my training. That's sort of that classical sensibility trying to instill itself. And I think it's more important to take a look at how a voice like this has reached people. And it's reached so many of you and made you feel something. That's what's really, really important. So then we have to say, okay, well, what is it about this sound that has touched so many people? How is this sound created? Now, one of the things I'm really noticing is that his head is up quite a bit. And it's actually what I would call a little out of alignment. He's constantly got his chin tipped up. And that's creating just a teensy bit of a kink, I think, in that. And it's closing off a little bit of the backspace of the sound. But what's happening then is that sound is very, very forward. That's contributing to some of the aggression you hear in his sound. You also hear a ton of distortion that's constantly there. And one of the things that I think would be considered best about his sound from all kinds of perspectives is the fact that he's so consistent in it. He's able to consistently produce this sort of grit in your face kind of sound. At the same time, though, we get this sloppiness, almost like a little bit of a grunge kind of technique in his sound, where he's not using a ton of enunciation with his lips. They aren't moving a whole bunch. Often we're getting approximations of consonants instead of really clear Pez dispenser kind of mouth formations. I'm going to go back again. It's a really cool riff.
If you like to gamble, I tell you I'm your man. You win some, lose some, it's all the same to me.
Yeah, so to me, it sounds like the sound is just a teensy bit pinched. And I wonder if that might be from this position where he's kind of up like this a lot of the time.
If you like to gamble, I tell you I'm your man. You win some, lose some, it's all the same to me.
Okay, but let's talk a little bit also about pitch. Pitch is one of the most important things when you're singing. If a person isn't singing on pitch, it's often described as bad. I've heard lots of situations where somebody isn't on pitch or they're messing around with the pitch and purposely being obscure with it, and the song is excellent. So just you take that with a grain of salt. He is very good about nailing through the pitch the whole time.
If you like to gamble, I tell you I'm your man. You win some, lose some, it's all the same to me.
So there's a little squeakiness every now and then. There is a little fluctuation here and there, but I always know exactly what pitch he is singing. One more time. Oh.
If you like to gamble, I tell you I'm your man. You win some, lose some, it's all the same to me.
And there's actually a really good line.
The pleasure is to play. Ain't no difference what you say. I don't shade green. The only card I need is the ace of spades. The ace of spades.
It's so interesting. Even in the way his mic has been positioned, it's clear that he likes to have that look up, tilt up to the microphone going on. Like, there's
Ain't no difference
you
what
can see it a little bit here. There's another view where you can see his microphone positioning a bit more.
I don't shade.
There. Yeah. Look at the way the mic has been positioned to encourage that chin tilt up. Very interesting. Positioning your microphone in the studio so you have the posture that you want for your sound is extremely important. There's so many singers that I know will go to a different studio and have a microphone set up that's not what they're used to in their home studio, and it really can throw them off, probably just because like the entire vocal tract is just at a different angle than they're used to. So just a tip, if you're singing in a different studio than normal, make sure your microphone is positioned as you would have it positioned at home. Or if you don't know what position you like most, figure that out.
The pleasure is to play. Ain't no difference what you say.
Oh, sorry, man, so many stops already. I'm really curious about his sound. So another thing I'm noticing is that even though it sounds really aggressive, again, I said sloppy aggression. I really like that description of his voice so far. Even though it has sloppy aggression, he's not actually singing that loudly. Look at how close he is to the microphone. His lips are almost touching it there. They might have touched it.
I don't shade green. The only card I need is the ace of spades. The ace of spades.
Whoa.
Playing for the high road, dancing with the devil, going with the flow. It's all a game to me. 7 or 11, snake eyes watching you.
I'm sorry, I've stopped it so many times, but I want to talk a little more about some of the posture and the way that he's holding his body as he's singing as well. His feet are spread pretty wide apart. This is very reminiscent of that horse stance, which many of you have heard me do an Iron Maiden analysis. You've heard me talk about Bruce and how he seems to always have feet really wide when he's going for a big high note. That can help you get some more support underneath the voice and can help carry it. Lemmy has got some pretty good wide stance going on there. It looks like he's got some good support for his voice. Yes, I like seeing that. And then additionally, I see him sort of shaking his head side to side sometimes while he's singing. This is really, really curious. I'm going to watch to see if this continues. Sometimes doing this can actually help remove tension in the neck while you're singing. I've heard a lot of people get just a lot of tension, a lot of muscular tightness, clenching down on notes. And the moment they start going side to side, it loosens up. It allows it to sort of engage and then release. And this frees up their tone more. So I'm wondering if this was something he was going for, if it was subconsciously just a way to help get into the zone of the song. I don't know. But I've seen it for most of the song now while he's singing.
7 or 11, snake eyes watching
Whoa.
You know I'm going to lose, and gambling's for fools, but that's the way I like it, baby. I don't want to live forever.
He sounds so bluesy here, right? There's some very evident slides in here, and it's also this raspy tone. I'm curious if he's adding that distortion on top, or if that's something that's a little bit more ingrained in his sound. Normally, I like to hear people be able to take away and add distortion. I'm not sure if that's something that's available in his sound or not. But some people do just have a fundamentally more raspy tone that can be caused by all kinds of things. But I think it's really interesting to hear the way he sort of like swoops in and has a bluesy approach to the line. A lot of spoken quality being brought into the melodic line here.
You know I'm going to lose, and gambling's for fools, but that's the way I like it, baby. I don't want to live forever.
You know, almost lost all sense of pitch center there at on forever.
You know I'm going to lose, and gambling's for fools, but that's the way I like it, baby. I don't want to live forever. And don't forget the Joker.
Ooh, I really like the way they did a tagline there that ran into the solo.
And don't forget the Joker.
Ooh, and cool. Bring it back to that riff. That's so cool. Is this? I'm not sure. Is this? I don't think this is a live performance. It's meant to look like it's a live performance, but it's the official video. And the thing that really made me realize this was not the fact that it says official video at the top of the video, which I just now noticed, but the fact that there was like wind blowing beautifully through some hair. I thought, oh, it looks like they have a studio fan on this. What's going on? I think they have a studio fan helping magnify their glorious locks. All of them. Gorgeous hair. It should be shown. Look at that hair. Either that or somebody has a hairdryer.
Pushing up the ante, I know you got to see me. Freedom and weep, the dead man's hand again.
Okay, let's talk a little bit more about where that focus is in his voice. A lot of times we'll talk about the mask in singing, and we're really talking about the sort of like front part of your face and where sound is directed. It's almost like there's a metal plate where you can choose to sort of bounce sound off of to create more or less resonance. And you can decide, oh, do I want it to ping, 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 ping around in there a bunch, or just kind of go through one particular area? If you have your soft palate down, it's more likely to just come through your nose. I hear quite a bit of soft palate drop in his sound. It sounds like it's not doing the ping, ping, ping up in the higher area. That would require a little more soft palate height, maybe a little more space back here. I think partly because of the neck up and then a little soft palate drop, we're getting it right, just kind of nose, teeth, a little bit of cheekbones in there too, but not really up higher than the eyes as far as where that resonance is occurring. It's very, very interesting to me how he just drives through the same area the whole time though. And that's creating the consistency. I imagine that all of his sounds have this staple signature sound in it. So it's really, really quite good. And that he's able to keep it in that same spot the whole time.
Pushing up the ante, I know you got to see me. Freedom and weep, the dead man's hand again. I see it in your eyes. Take one look and die.
Really interesting.
The only thing you see, you know
such a short song. I read before that at one point he sang the 8 of Spades for like 2 years and nobody noticed. And it's because he has this sort of like mumbly diction. Right? Again, I go back to this grunge era of diction, how everything was just a little bit sloppy, essentially. Though it's amazing, Eddie Vedder is able to be so clear in his diction at times. It's an option, but sometimes they go towards this very little movement concept that creates a more sloppy, almost realistic sense of diction, as if it were more of a conversation. And he's doing that for sure, which is why people might not notice for 2 years if he was singing the 8 of Spades or the Ace of Spades. They're pretty similar, but he's definitely saying ace here because I hear a nice clean S.
The only thing you see, you know it's gonna be the ace of spades, the ace of spades.
Ooh. I like the drive in this song. Ooh. Okay, we're going to go back one more time for that play out. I have a question, which I'm hoping you guys will answer for me in comments or in the Premiere Live chat if you're there. What is the difference between power metal and speed metal? And also, how does heavy metal play into this? I'm trying to ask more and more about metal genres and how they're connected to each other. So I'm curious, as one of the leaders of heavy metal, I understand they sort of relaunched a British heavy metal era, essentially. Was that more towards power metal or speed metal or just heavy metal in general? Let me know in those comments, please. We're gonna go back one more time. This song has really good drive. I can see that the drive of it and why that would be so popular. I see that appeal for sure in the way that his sloppy aggression makes you sort of feel like nobody cares. I'm just gonna go for it. I could see that being very relatable for sure. Like the whale. Yeah. I started this song wanting to know how you all are relating to Motorhead and to Lemmy. And I feel like I've picked out a few things, but I definitely want to know more about that. So definitely write in the comments down below what it is you relate most to about them. My guess is it's partly this recklessness in their spirit that is very relatable. Also, I think that Lemmy has lots of imperfections, but he just doesn't care. He just sings right through them. And that kind of confidence, despite imperfections, is super attractive and definitely something that I feel like more of us want to tap into. So tell me more about that in the comments down below. And if you'd like to hear some perhaps similar songs, you can check out this playlist over here. May you fall more in love with music every day.